Today we'll be looking at a method called the false position method, also known as the regular falsy method. This is similar to the bisection method which we saw in the previous video. This is also a root finding method. So looking at this graph, you know that the root lies here, right? And bisection method tells us that pick an interval in which you think the root lies. So pick an interval. And why would I think the root lies within this interval? Because the function changes sign from here, which is negative, to here, which is positive. So that means the root lies within this interval. And the bisection method tells us that find the center of the interval and look for the value of the root there. So for example, this is C, and bisection method tells me that the root will lie somewhere over here. So when I find the value of the function at C, I check whether it is in fact equal to 0. If it is not, then I again change my interval from A to B to A to C, and then I look for the root within this interval, and again I look at the center value. Then I keep on repeating the process. In order to get a detailed idea about this, you can refer to the previous video, the video on the bisection method. But as you can see, the disadvantage in this method is that the algorithm is always looking at the center of the interval for the root value. So that may not always be the case. As you can see in this particular problem, the root lies near to one of the values, near to one of the ends of the interval. It lies near to A rather than B. So taking a value at the center does not make much of sense, right? So a better way would be, which the false position method tells us, the better way would be to draw a line connecting the value of the function at A and B. So this is the value of the function at A, this is the value of the function at B. I connect these two with a line, and the point where the line crosses the x-axis, that becomes my C. And as you can see from the figure, this value is indeed closer to the value of the actual root. So this reduces the number of steps in the algorithm that we need to write. It reduces the number of iterations that the algorithm needs to take, and it is more computationally efficient. Okay, so that is how the false position method works. Now let us figure out how we can write, or how we can figure out. Let's figure out how we can calculate the value of C. It's again simple enough. This point, if you have to write them in terms of xy coordinates, this point would be b comma f of b, and this point would be a comma f of a. Now the line connecting these 2 points can be given as y minus y1, which is f of a, x minus x1, so x minus a, y2 minus y1, so f of b minus f of a, and x2 minus x1, so that's b minus a. We have got the equation for the line. We need to get the point where this line crosses the x-axis. When a line crosses the x-axis, at that point y equal to 0, right? Here y is 0 and x is equal to c. So y is 0, f of a, x is c minus a, f of b minus f of a, b minus a. So from this equation we can figure out the value of c. So I can write this as minus f of a times b plus, so I'm multiplying these two, so that's plus a f of a, right, and this goes down, f of b minus f of a, this goes on this side, c, and I add a on this side. Okay, so let me multiply it quickly. A times f of b minus a times f of a minus b times f of a plus a times f of a divided by f of b minus f of a, this equals c. Now does something get cancelled? Yeah, these two get cancelled. So what I'm left with is a f of b minus b f of a divided by f of b minus f of a. So this is the value of c in the regular uh, falsy method or the false position method, it is not as simple as a plus b by 2, right? This is a weighted value. It depends on the weights, depends on the values of the functions at a and b. So now let us implement this in our code, in the Octave code, right, and see how this is better. Let us compare bisection method and the regular falsy method and see how this is better than the earlier one. Okay, name the file regular falsy.m. Okay, sorry for the pause. Oh yeah, so let me choose the same function as we did last time so that we can compare. It was 4 times log of x minus x, I think. Okay, so let me choose an interval again. First let me plot this at the query points like always. Let me set the x-axis location, x-axis location at the origin. Alright, and let me plot it. Let me open up Octave. Regular false. Okay, there's an error. X is undefined. So let's solve that error. Line number 6. Line number 6, x is undefined. So I have not defined x as xq. The error was I had written x in place of xq. Now let's run it. So we are getting the graph as earlier, and let's solve for the first root. The first root would lie between the interval 0 and 6. So let me give the a and b value as 0 and 6. A equals 0, b equals 6. Now let me define a tolerance, 1e minus 6. So I'll stop the iterations. When the absolute value of the function at c is less than my tolerance. That's when the loop stops. How do I calculate c? The formula is here. It's a times f of b minus b times f of a divided by f of b minus f of a. Right? I check if f of b, first it checks whether the value is actually less than, whether the value of the function at c is less than the tolerance. If it is not, so while it is okay it should be, while the value is greater than tolerance, do the steps inside. As soon as it is less than the tolerance, we have achieved our goal. So if the value is greater than the tolerance, it will check if f of a minus f of c is less than 0. That means the function is changing sign within the interval a and c. If it is, then b equals c. If it is not, then a equals c. Right? This is similar to what we did in the previous code. Okay, and we calculate c again at the end of the checking. So again, like going over the code, we start by calculating the value of the function at c. If it is greater than our tolerance value, tolerance means this value is very close to 0, a very small value. So if the value of the function is not 0, then we check if we check whether the function is changing sign within the interval a and c. If it does, then we replace b with c, and if it does not, then we replace a with c, and then we calculate the value of c again using our logic as explained here. Okay, so let me save it, run the code. What is the value of c? I have made a mistake. a times f of b minus b times f of a divided by f of b minus f of a. Let me check what value I'm getting here. Okay, so there's some problem with this code, right? F is 4 times log of x minus x. C is nan. Why is that so? So let's do some debugging together. C is nan because a is 0 and f of a. Alright, so this function, if you look carefully, f, it is not defined at 0, I think, because it's log, right? So I made a mistake. I cannot give 0 as one of the interval values because it's a log function. It is not defined at 0. So let me just change it to 1 and hopefully it will work now. C is 3.3073. That's the initial guess. The final one is 1.4296. So let me check whether it is in fact the root. So C, f of C with a marker x, and yeah, it is indeed the root. So what advantage does this method have over the bisection method? So let me count the number of iterations. Okay, I'll show you. So I want to see how many times this loop, the lines within the loop, repeat, right? How I can do that is, let me define a variable called counter, and let me update this counter every time the loop is run. So the counter variable gets incremented by a value of 1 every time the loop is run. And let me also comment this out, not comment this out, put a semicolon so the output is not shown to us. Okay, fine. Let's run the code and look at the value of counter, not contour, counter. Okay, counter, it's 11. So that means the number of lines, the number of times the lines within the while loop has run is 11, or the number of steps taken in the algorithm to get to the root is 11. Let's compare this with our bisection method. Let me open up the bisection method code. Okay, I'm doing a lot of mistakes today, right? So let me choose the same interval, 1 to 6. Let me get rid of these extra lines. I'm not interested in the plot for now, and let me introduce the counter variable here also to count the number of times the loop is run. Alright, and let me run the code. Okay, so as you can see, the number of times the code bisection, the code which implemented the bisection method, the number of times it ran the while loop was 22 to arrive at the value of the root, which is 1.4296, right? Bisection method, if I run it again, it arrives at the value of the root as 1.4296 in how many iterations? 22. Let me run, remember these values, C 1.4296 and counter 22. If I run the regular file C, I get the same value of the root, but let's check the number of times the loop ran, and that is 11. So see how drastically the number of steps have gone down from 22 to 11. Only half the number of steps was required to get to the root value in regular file C method. So obviously this method is quite better, much better than the bisection method, right? And it gives the value of the root in much less number of intervals. Fine. So this is the false position method, or the regular file C method. Excuse me. Please go ahead and implement it. The code is provided to you in the description. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.